So now I have to present it in a way that I think will be appropriate to our millennials, our shabab, who are dealing with issues that challenge al-wala wal-Bara. Being in this politically correct environment. Al-wala wal-Bara. Al-wala wal-Bara is one of those concepts and one of those Islamic words, terminology. Hey shabab, my brother. That's one of those words that you should have heard of. And if you never heard of it before, you're hearing it now. Al-wala wal-Bara. Al-wala wal-Bara. It should be a reoccurring word that the Muslim hears. So today, let them understand what it is. Al-wala wal-Bara. And even now, you have to be careful when you go back and you even check the language of how it's been translated. Al-wala wal-Bara. Because it could be politically incorrect. Al-wala wal-Bara in Islam. Al-wala, it means allegiance, loyalty, friendship, love. Al-wala. Al-wala, to be a person who has alliances, cooperation. You have al-wala to the Muslims and to Islam, meaning we're a community. So you have al-wala. One of Allah's names is al-wali. So we have in our audience Abdullahi, Abdul Ilah, Abdul Mu'min, we have Abdul Jabbar. One of the names, Abdul Wali. Allah is the Wali. So al-wala is when the Muslim, he looks at the Muslims and he has connection to them, affiliation, love. That's al-wala. And al-Bara is when the Muslim disassociates and he disconnects himself from kufr and from people who believe in kufr and they give da'wah to kufr. And they show it and they show it. The Imam read an ayah today that's connected to the whole issue, what we're dealing with today. Al-Bara. The Muslim is the person who, when it comes to disbelief, and people who believe in things that are not true, disbelief, kufr, then the Muslim disconnects and he disavows himself from that. He doesn't support that. That's al-wala wal-Bara. Al-wala wal-Bara. To have allegiance, solidarity, to be connected to have love for the Muslims and for al-Islams. I want to have a question, and most of you are young people. Are Muslims perfect people? Are they perfect people? Do they make mistakes? So when they make mistakes, do we have love for the mistakes that they make? No, we don't have mistake. We don't have love for the mistakes that they make. But al-wala, it's like your family. If you can think of this, you have your mother, you have your father, you have your siblings who are there, you have your grandmother, your grandfather, you have your relatives spreading out after that. Those are the closest people you're going to be to. And if you're one of those people who you're closer to your friends and you're closer to strangers than you are to your own siblings and your family, then something is wrong. So we have people here, you are elder brothers and elder sisters, and you're arguing all the time with each other. It's not okay. Because al-wala wal-Bara, I'm trying to help you understand. Al-wala is to have love, connection, protection, loyalty, to be aligned with, affiliation. You have love for your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your relatives. Even if they make mistakes and they get you upset, whatever, but you're always going to be with them. Inshallah, you're going to always have that thing. That's al-wala. You have to have that for Islam. Al-Bara is the opposite of that. Al-Bara is people who do kufr, and people who do shirk, and people who do these things that go against al-Islam. The Muslim disconnects himself from that. He disavows himself from that. He doesn't support that. He doesn't align himself with that at all. At all. Now I have a question for you. There is a Muslim person who he has immigration challenges. He has immigration problems. You guys know what immigration problems mean? He's going to get kicked out of this country. He has to go back to some poor country. He has immigration problems. He wants to solve his problem. He has to get a lawyer, a solicitor, who's going to defend his case in court. Does he have to choose a Muslim? If he doesn't choose a Muslim, he's a bad person? Does he have to choose a Muslim, or is it permissible in Islam to choose a non-Muslim? Who knows the answer to that question? And wal-Bara. Now I'm going to choose you if you don't raise your hand. So I know the students who are always ready. My brother, you understood the question? Okay. We talk about wal-Bara. We have love for the Muslims, loyalty. We're with them, alliances. We choose the Muslims, we help the Muslims. We don't help other people against them, the same way we are with our families. Al-Bara, we free ourselves. There's a disconnection between non-Muslims and what they do, the kufr, the shirk, all of the stuff that they do that goes against our religion and who we are. If we were not who we are, we would be doing what they're doing. But we're not doing that because we are who we are. So, the Muslim, he wants to go to court and he has to get a lawyer, a solicitor, to defend his case to win immigrations. He loses, he's going back. If he doesn't choose a Muslim, is he a bad Muslim? Okay, why not? And raise your voice, man, so the world can hear what you have to say. Why is he not a bad Muslim? Muhammad. Is he a bad Muslim? Is he a what? Do we criticize him? What? Muhammad, speak loud. What?
If he's picking a Muslim that are not solicitor, he's not like, he can't pick him because that's what I feel.
He can't pick a solicitor who's not a Muslim?
I'm saying if a Muslim not a solicitor, you cannot pick him because not good at that field.
Anybody else? Anybody else want to try? Anybody else want to try? Okay, man, I'm going to choose you. Khalid, what you have to say? Did you get the question? You didn't get the question. You biting your nails. Today, you guys are nervous. What's going on today? You guys look nervous today. My brother, with your head down. Pick your head up and sit up straight. You're my student. You got the picture? And wal-Bara. We love our families. We love the Muslims. We're with the Muslims. We align with them. We connect with them. We have loyalty, allegiance, and wala. Innama, the ayah said in the Quran, Innama Allahu waliyu, inna waliyukum Allah. Allah is your wali. Innama Allahu waliyukum. Allah is your wali, meaning Allah is the one who's protecting you. Allah is your friend. Allah is the one you take as a friend and a protector. So the Muslim, he has to choose in this case. If he doesn't choose a Muslim, is that a problem?
I think him choosing a Muslim, I think that's allowed because it's not sin.
What's your name, brother? Ahmed. Ahmed, what do you have to say? All right. My brother right here.
He should try to choose a Muslim, then he should put trust in Allah that a Muslim will help him. But if it's like a life or death circumstance, then he should go with the non-Muslim.
Good job. It's as simple as that. It's just saying what you believe and what makes sense. And he articulated and he didn't leave any oxygen for there to be a misunderstanding. Good job, brother. If a person finds himself in that situation, he should try to find a Muslim. Try to find a Muslim who's going to do work for you in your house. Because there's hope that if a Muslim is going to do work for you, he's going to be truthful, like you guys. You're going to be a teacher. You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a solicitor, inshallah. You're going to be the one who's in that job. You're going to do this. You're going to be doing that. So when you come to people's homes, they're going to expect you to be truthful. So you want the same thing. But what if you don't find a Muslim who's going to do that? He's not professional. He's not qualified. You could choose someone in a case like this to help your situation, especially in the dunya. Good job, brother. Good job. So listen, there are some verses I want to share with you guys very quickly before we bring out this food. Because as I said, especially for you elders, you parents, this is not a class your kid hears for. He hears it one time in his life. This is part of what it is to be a Muslim. That the Muslim is going to be, as a parent, letting his child know you're different. But being different, does that mean we are not for community cohesion? We're not for multiculturalism? Kalla wallahi. Look at this message right now. We're going to be the first ones to say you can't make us apologize and become defensive about multiculturalism. Look at our message right here. We have people from everywhere. We're not apologizing for that. We embrace it. But every group of people have a right to express who they are. Every group of people. There are some groups of people, we don't even want to mention them here because it won't be appropriate, I don't think, although everybody knows. So we're in a society, they are letting and allowing people to be who you are. We're Muslims. And as Muslims, we do this, we don't do that. So listen to some of these ayat. Our Imam today, he read the ayat of the Quran. Where Allah said, لا تجد قوم يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله ولو كانوا آباءهم أو أبناءهم أو إخوانهم أو عشيرتهم. That's what he read today. Knowing what the topic was about. That you will never find a group of people. This is a verse of the Quran. The Muslims are not those people who, when people are opposed to Allah and His Messenger and the religion of Islam, you won't find Muslims being kind and nice and easy and enjoying things with them. That's al-Bara. As a Muslim, you can't be like that. When people are in opposition to al-Islam, you can't be one of those people who sit and you say, yeah, everything is okay. You have to take a position. That's al-Bara. That's an ayat of the Quran. You won't find the people who truly believe in Allah in the last day. When people oppose Allah and His Messenger, I want to ask you guys a question. And you were young when this happened, but you remember, I'm sure. When people draw pictures and they illustrate Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam negatively, like they put on his head, his face, a bomb, is that something we look at as being light? If they put on their head and they say Muhammad, Rasulullah, they put a caricature, a cartoon, and they put someone who's looking like Shaitan with a devil face, and they say that's Muhammad. Is that easy for us? It's not easy for us. So it's not okay for a Muslim when he sees things like that to look at it as being easy. But he has to be careful. And this is our message here. He has to be careful. He has to be careful as the way he expresses himself when he's against those things. We can't go overboard. You can't be a person who makes too much problems. You have to show your displeasure in the correct way, in the right way. And wala wa bara. What it means? We don't do what non-Muslims do when it comes to celebrations and things like that. When it comes to the way they dress. So when your parents say to you, for an example, don't wear your clothes like this or like that. Or I don't want you to wear your thing like that. It's because, as Muslims, we are distinct. We're different. The Muslim woman, what kind of clothes does she wear? An ibaya. She wears a hijab. Is that different or not different? So every man, every son, everyone has a responsibility here if we're Muslims. Then you have to say to your mother, you have to say to your sister, you have to say to your relatives who are women, you have to wear hijab. The Muslim is distinct. That's just the way it is. It's our responsibility. And that's why I say again, to the parents here, it's not enough one class on wal-Bara. And wala wal-Bara is an integral aspect. You know, they have issues in Islam that are very high. The highest issue in Islam is the Tawheed of Allah, the cornerstone of Islam. The monotheism of Islam. Who is Allah, what He does, what He doesn't do. That's the highest thing in Islam. Nothing is above it. Nothing is equal to it. If a person dies believing correctly in La ilaha illallah, he dies and he doesn't make shirk with Allah. Hocus pocus, Friday the 13th, Halloween, cross this, that, across, whatever. But he doesn't die believing in any of that. He'll go to Jannah. If Allah wants to put him in Jannah without punishing, Allah will. If He wants to punish him to clean him up, Allah will do that. But up there with those issues is al-wala wal-Bara. Al-wala wal-Bara. The girl not wearing hijab is a problem. It kills al-wala wal-Bara because it helps the Muslim lady to try to fit in. She tries to fit into a situation in society she's not supposed to fit in. She can't fit in because of her hijab. So we're relaxed on that issue, relaxed on that integral cornerstone of al-wala wal-Bara. As it relates to al-wala wal-Bara, very important issue I want to share with you. Very important. Al-Bara. That means to be like free. There's a surah of the Quran called Surah Al-Bara, Surah Al-Tawbah, one of the last surahs revealed. Al-Bara means to free yourself from non-Muslims, kufr, shirk. We have to also free ourselves partially from the Muslim who does things that are not acceptable. So any Muslim who does something that is not acceptable, is not sanctioned, we have to have al-Bara. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, one of the practices that they used to do in Jahiliyyah when he came, the time of ignorance, and they still do it now, is that if someone died, the non-Muslims of Quraysh, the Arabs, they would behave any way they wanted to. The Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Ana bari'un." I'm free. I'm free from the one who slaps his cheeks and the one who rips their clothes off, and from the one who da'a bida'wa al-jahiliyyah. I'm free from the one who slapped the cheeks. That's what the women used to do in Jahiliyyah, the Arabs. If the father died, the mother died, a kid, someone important, the women usually would show their mourning and their sorrow by slapping each other in the face. And the lighter the woman was, the redder her face would become, which was a sign in Dalil how sincere she was. Rasulullah said, I'm free from the one who does that. Meaning it's haram for the woman, if someone dies, to behave in that way. He said, I'm free from the one who shaqqul uyub or juyub. They rip their clothes. That's what the women used to do. They used to, someone would die, they'd be at the funeral and they'd be screaming and wailing. النياحة ثلاثة من أمور الجاهلية لن تتركها أمتي أبدا. النياحة, screaming when people die. So if a Muslim were to do those things, we have to say, hey, we have bara. I'm free from you, but partially, not fully, because you can never free yourself fully from the Muslim. Just from kufr and from the people of al-kufr. And there are many examples of that. In Jahiliyyah, if a musibah happened to a woman, she would cut her hair off. Prophet Muhammad said, I don't have anything to do with her. Doesn't mean she's a non-Muslim. It means that in Islam, he freed himself from the one who does that action. It's not permissible. I'm free from the one, he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who he ties his beard up. So you can't tie your beard up. So if a Muslim makes mistakes, we partially free ourselves from them, but not fully free ourselves from the Muslims. If you guys have any questions, you can put your question forward. You guys have any questions?
you're around the kuffar, and they are doing their, you know, celebrations, or not celebrations, but they are, you know, saying Merry Christmas and all happy, you know, all these kind of things, and you're in that, of the surrounding that, doing your work, and you know, what's the best way to deal with those situations where, you know, you're forced in, not forced in, but you can't get out of it. You know, they're saying it around you, and you know, you don't want to partake, but it's casual conversation. That you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, the question is a good question. Is things that we have to deal with. The older you get, the more knowledge and experience you have, the better you're equipped to deal with these issues. The younger you are, the young person doesn't have any direction. Whichever way the wind blows, that's the way he or she goes. Responsibility of the parent. I believe in Allah's A'lam, the most appropriate hadith for this situation you find yourself in the workplace. You're not the only one there on an island by yourself. People are saying Merry Christmas and they're practicing all of this. The Prophet said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, anyone from amongst you who sees something that is wrong, a munkar, if you can change it, change that thing and stop it with your hand. And if you can't do that, then change it by speaking out against it. And maybe speaking out against it just goes as far as saying, no thank you, I don't take that. No thank you, I don't practice that. Maybe it could be more than that. And then the last thing, if you can't change it, then hate it in your heart. And that's the weakest of an iman. Hate it in your heart. And people are in those situations. So everybody knows his case better than I do. But that's the best hadith that I could think of. Wallahu a'lam. You guys have any questions? Yes, my brother. Hey, do you remember the question I had asked you? You had your hand up? What was it? About what? The solicitor. What was your answer? Go ahead, brother.
So let's say like a person like he's a non-Muslim and he was a friend. Would it be haram to go to his funeral because he's like non-Muslim?
Is it haram to go to the funeral of the non-Muslim if your friend were to die? That's what the question is?
Yeah.
If your young friend were to die, is it haram to go to his funeral? Yes, I would say it's better not to go to his funeral. If he's your young friend, then I would say don't go to his funeral, inshallah. That's what I would say. Have you been to a funeral of a friend of yours that was young, who died, was a non-Muslim? Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I would say don't go to his funeral if you are young and your young non-Muslim friend died. No, don't go to his funeral. Yes? What if it's your relative? If you go to the funeral of your relative and your mom or your dad, for an example, have the ability to give a talk, for an example, about death, about what's going on with the relative that died, and you're going to explain to the people in a nice way, and you validate your presence, and that you're talking about it. They call it a eulogy. A eulogy. This is what they made up, but it's what they do. When non-Muslims die, they have a eulogy. They have a book they give you when you come in, and has their picture on it, and has something about their history, what they did, how many children, all that stuff. And then people are going to talk about what that person did in their life. So if the person was young and a relative died, his mom or his dad was going to talk at that place about death, you have to get ready, you have to know who the creator is, things like that. And by him not going, it's going to be trouble, then he should go. He should go. And they get him down, inshallah.
غرباء 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 غرباء